All right, we're here with Ricky Stanzi, ex-Iowa quarterback or former Iowa quarterback. Rick, just talk a little bit about the off-season, how things have gone since the bowl game ended.
It's been pretty hectic. I mean, right since the end of the bowl game, started the whole process going into the NFL. The beginning part was, picking an agent, and that, for the first week after, getting home, kind of went through that process and ended up picking a great guy, Jack Becta, who has a bunch of former Hawks and has Hawks, right now, Tony Moyaki, Pat Anger, and AJ Eads, who I'm all very close friends with. So felt very comfortable with him, and then from there it was, training in Iowa, and so came back here and been training here, and I've gone to California to work with Tom Martinez, who's a quarterback coach who's worked with Brady since he was about 13, and then going to the Senior Bowl, and now getting ready for the Combine after that, the Pro Day, and any other individual workout. So there's been a lot of traveling, a lot of things going on, a lot of training, but it's been very fun. I mean, I've met a lot of new people, done a lot of cool things, and I'm really enjoying it.
What did you get out of the Senior Bowl? I mean, what was that experience like?
It was awesome. I mean, people, were telling me it was hectic. There's a lot that happens in the week, and it does. It goes pretty fast. There's a lot of interviews with a lot of teams, and you meet a lot of new people. You meet a lot of personnel. You meet a lot of, other college players around the country that you see on TV, and how you get to play with them. So it was great. It was a great competitive week, but at the same time met a lot of new friends and had good conversations and good interviews that, hopefully you think would, help you in the draft process, especially at the quarterback position, where a lot of it is, chalk talk and, getting to know you a little bit better and how you work as a leader. So it was very important from that standpoint to go to the Senior Bowl and not only have fun and compete, but be able to talk to these teams and get them familiar with how you play football and how you think around the football field and around teammates.
What are some of the things you're hearing that people like about your game, and what are some of the question marks for these pro people?
I think it's there's always pros and cons when you're going into it, and obviously it's important to find out what's the truth and what's just false and what people are just kind of saying, because there's a lot of things that go into it that you're not quite sure. You're just hearing different things, and so for me the biggest thing has kind of been staying away from that and training very hard and trying to get ready from what I think needs to be worked on. And I've talked with certain people that point to footwork, they point to accuracy, they point to consistency, simple things that I think every quarterback can work on. And of course, you want to be very strong with your leadership and your work ethic, and those are kind of things that are going to be more reputation based. You can't exactly show that to the coaches in this amount of time, because it's more about how you run and how you throw. But from people talking to your coaches and your teammates in Iowa, that's your best chance of putting your foot forward in the leadership and in the work ethic category, and that's kind of stuff you've already done. You've already put your stamp on that stuff, and now they just have to trust other people's words, and hopefully they believe what they say, and then you go into camp with whatever team and prove it. So that's really what where you're at now from the pros and cons of your player is that you have a lot of upside. Most guys do coming out of college, so you have to show that you have the leadership to be a quarterback and that you have the work ethic to work at what you need to get better at, so that when you go to camp, you're not just going to stay where you are. You're going to keep building and keep getting better, and hopefully be able to take the reins of the team and do some good things for them.
As much as Coach Ferentz and Coach O'Keefe have gotten criticized through the years for not running the spread and all this other stuff, for you, does that help you? I mean, you're going to a league where they run pro style.
Yeah, it's been a huge help so far, and it's only been a very small part of it, which was pretty much just the Senior Bowl. Going down there and working with the Bengals coaching staff and understanding their terminology and how they call plays, it's very similar to how we do things. So it was only a week of learning that stuff, but it came very quickly because of how Coach Ferentz runs practice, how he runs the meeting room, how he runs his offense was all very familiar, because it's a pro style. It's a very a professional approach to everything, and you get very familiar with that. And once you go into it and you just kind of translate what you did at Iowa and just kind of figure it out how they're doing it at other places, it tends to go very quickly, as opposed to if you're from a spread, it's a lot different at times. There's some similarities, but everything we did was could translate to what the Bengals were doing, and that helped a lot. And it's easier to talk football when you've had to know it as intensely as we do at this quarterback position at Iowa, because of how many checks we do and how much protections and things that we carry in our offense can really help you with the mental side of the game and showing coaches what you know about football.
You weren't really hyped coming out of high school as some of the other guys that are in this draft class. Mm-hmm. Did you expect yourself to be here? I mean, when you're back there, or are you just thinking about, let me get to college?
Yeah, I think at the time it was more so, what college am I going to go to? What am I going to have to do to get on the field is really the big thing at that point. And once you did all that, now you have yourself in a new position that you can draw similarities from in the past with your high school days and getting the scholarship. So it's kind of, you can draw similarities, and you can tell yourself, finding examples that that you can do it, that you can put in the time and build yourself up and get better so that you can perform at that next level. That's kind of what it's all about right now. I mean, the NFL is very foreign to me. I can't pretend like I know what it's about, and I can't pretend that I know how the offenses are and how defenses play, because I don't. I'm just like a fan. I've watched what everybody else has watched on TV. So until you get into it and really see how it works, then you can kind of go ahead and work at it. But for right now, you just have to, trust that your work ethic and your leadership and the things that you've developed over the years in high school and through Iowa are going to pay off when you get to the next level. And that's kind of where you have to be from a mental standpoint of going into the NFL, and not really worrying about rankings and all that, because I've heard it from tons of different people that in 2 years from now, it's not going to matter where you got drafted. It's really going to matter what you did in those 2 years and how you built a reputation around your teammates and the coaching staff.
We talked about it'd be nice to play in warm weather. Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to play close to home. But what's the most important thing to you in going to a team?
I think the most important thing, there's tons of different scenarios you could think up, but I think when you're going in as a player, the biggest thing from the little bit that I know and the little bit that I've been exposed to, and how I went into Iowa and how I went into my high school, was try to earn respect from your teammates and coaches. That's the biggest thing. If you can show them that you're a hard worker, that you're a guy who's going to keep his mouth shut and do what he has to do and not make excuses, then you'll earn respect, and then you can go ahead and transition into whatever role the team needs you to do. But if you can't get the respect of your teammates and the respect of your coaches and the whole organization, it's really hard for anything that you do to mean anything. So you have to just start at that ground base, that fundamental morals and values of how you work and how you do things, and then build from there.
Does it seem like the time went fast at Iowa, that you're at this stage now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you're in it, obviously, it's like any other thing. It's so cliche, but it goes fast. But at the same time, I can remember looking back and thinking, how long of a season it felt at times, and how long camp felt in certain parts of the year. And there's been so many different things that you went through as a team. So it felt long while you were in it, and then when you look back on it, of course, it feels like it went fast. And but you should be ready to move on. You should be ready for the next step, and you don't want to keep hanging on to the past. You want to keep moving forward, but remember what got you here, and remember the kind of person you are, and don't change it, and just improve as a person and get better from here, and do things a little bit better than you have in the past, and learn from everything that you have been presented, and learn from Coach Ferentz and Coach Doyle and Coach O'Keefe, and take those lessons and then build on them.
Last one, and we'll let you go here. The Ricky Stanzi era is over at Iowa now. Now you've got, some guys, Vandenberg, Winky, Derby, and a young kid, Rudock, coming in from Florida. What can Iowa fans expect? What have you seen in practice from these guys?
Starting with James, he's a guy, he's got a ton of talent at the quarterback position. He really does. I haven't seen many guys throw the ball as well as he does that naturally. And he's got great feet. He's very smart. He knows how to play the position. So I think the fans should expect, a very good quarterback to step in next year. A guy who's played in some games, has a little bit of, experience, and he doesn't have a ton, but he knows enough to how the thing's supposed to work, and he's a great leader. He leads by example. He's a guy that can, pull guys in and get them involved. And the other guys, John and AJ and the new guy coming in, I think those guys have worked very hard too, and it's great to have a lot of good quarterbacks with a good mindset for the game and good physical skills to always have in that stable. You always got to have a bunch of guys that can play the position well and understand what is expected, because the way you carry yourself as a quarterback around the locker room and with your teammates is important, regardless if you're the starter or the backup. You have to have that same mentality, that same moxie about yourself when you're walking around. You got to have good confidence, because that's that feeds into all the other groups, whether you're the first team guy, the second team guy, or even the third team guy. The way you're operating is going to trickle down to how the rest of the team operates, which is going to build a good well-oiled machine at the end of the day.
Can A.J. Derby play quarterback at this level?
Absolutely. I don't see why not. When I walked in here, I didn't know if I could play at this level. I mean, it's such a hard transition from high school to a pro style, especially when you're in the spread, and he has all the physical tools to do it. There's no doubt. He's made a lot of the throws. He can only get better, and that's what the challenge is right now for some of those guys, is how much time are they willing to put in to improve? How much work are they going to do in the film room in the off season and with their weight room and their footwork? How much time are they going to put in? And it will show, and they have to make sure they're willing to invest that time.